I just want us to get to know Lola if you don't know Lola yet. So, how would you introduce yourself, Lola?
Mm.
Hmm.
Well, there's so many labels, right? I'm originally from Brazil, been living here in the United States for almost 20 years, I feel like. And I consider myself a multi-dimensional medicine woman, that continue to follow the guidance of my own heart. And I know that when I get to do that, I get to really serve, the collective, my brothers and sisters around the world in the most pure, authentic, and real way that I can. So, yeah.
And when I was there in the serpent ceremony, uh, so you said to us that you use your heart as your GPS, and that really stuck with me. And we were discussing how what we would do when you would come to Israel, and what kind of like we would the theme would be also for the retreat that we want to host together. And we had a whole discussion about embodiment, since we both deal with movement,
Mm-hmm.
dance, and other movements. Of course, you'll tell us a little bit about the other movements that you practice. And to me, you embody somebody who really moves and lives from her heart.
Mm.
And I can think of a few examples, but maybe you can give us an example from recent years where you really just followed your heart, you jumped into the unknown.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think the the moving to Brazil was probably one of the latest, the most one of the scariest one, because I was going to leave everything that I knew myself to be, and actually I was gonna be right back to it, but then the pandemic hit, and I lost it all. My community, basically, my studio, sold it, um, and that was I wouldn't have traded that, even if you're like, all right, would you do it again, even knowing all the contractions that you're going to move through? And the answer is like, yes, yes, I would, like a million times, yes. And it was
Mm.
the same time that we came here to visit, in July, after the pandemic was a little calmer. It was 2021. And as soon as the airplane landed, I heard it's time to come back, and there was just also no questions about that. So it's
And
usually a profound and direct, like, knowing. It's a knowing that there's no room for should I stay or should I go. It's a knowing.
I really envy you, because I there was a time in my life where I was in that place where I had clear knowing. And in the last few years, I feel that I have less clarity. I'm waiting for the clarity to come back. But I really love, I mean, I also think that the more you practice listening to
Hmm.
that voice of the heart, so you have more clarity. And Adi and Tebi, who's hosting you when you come in July, she has a question.
Hmm.
What do you love about Israel? Because I have to say that Lola was here 3 years ago. We had a blast.
Yeah,
Uh,
thank you for that, Adi. I'm gonna plug into what you just said about yourself and plug into Israel. Uh, Sometimes there's this connection that we make as humans, that the idea of following the heart is directly connected to an action, right? When I follow my heart and I did this, but following the flow of the heart is actually a way of being as well. It's a way of being in the body and in the self, in the most authentic version of ourselves. And if there's the people like you guys, Israelis, as soon as I landed in Israel, and starting with my connection with you, but I felt like, first I felt like it was a land in which I lived before. You know, it felt very like home for me. But as I continue to have the memories of like you, the women were what felt like home for me, because in so many ways there's so many similarity to the Israeli and the Brazilians, with just that very like what you see is what you get kind of way of being. And that to me is also the way of the heart. You know, it doesn't need to look pretty and filled with flowers. There's just like this realness, and this rawness is like, you know, that it's very special. So that will be to answer your question. Other than the country ID, that it's incredibly beautiful, I felt home with each one of you that I had an opportunity to be with for a day, for half a day, for a class. It's very powerful.
Yeah, so Sharon also joined us. Sharon Guy Manor is gonna host you in the South. In
Hi.
actually, it's gonna be almost one of the first places you're going down south, and you're gonna teach in her house in her backyard, which is supposed to be amazing. Um, so talking about moving from the heart or flowing from the heart. Um, Maybe you can tell us a little bit about what moving from the heart physically. I mean, really, how can we move our heart? Or you also created all of these your own kind of routines and choreographies, and you have even some that are named after the heart. So do you see a connection to the real physical heart when you say to move your heart or live from the heart?
So it is in, you know, I have a whole background in Chinese medicine, and when we see life in this more holistic way, we begin to really not see the separation between the physical, right? When I'm treating the heart meridian, I am treating the organ, but I'm treating like all that it affects on all this like metaphysical realms. And 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 it's almost like the the chicken and the egg. When it comes to the heart, it's like the heart will move, it will move the body, but sometimes the body will move the heart. I don't know if even this makes sense, but it's a deep connection. And there's this chart that I used to draw, I learned in bioenergetic medicine, that it's really cool that our heart, we have our heart, and then we have that layer, the ethereal layer, that it's right outside the body. And
Mm-hmm.
then we have the emotional layer, and then we have the mental layer, right? And then outside of these three layers that we have right at the edge of our bodies, it is the connection with the divine, with all that is, with source, with the universe, right? And sometimes these layers, they get really, really thick, the mental layer, the emotional layer, when we don't know how to move. And the beautiful thing is that our heart, physically and energetically, carries that same energy of all that is, that it's that, you know, we're only three layers from God, you know. Or and so the when we get into that physical, the moving, and the dropping into the feeling of, and I'm thinking, when I think of, you know, the from the heart, it's really the heart in Chinese medicine is presence, you know. And all that it's to move from the heart, to flow from the heart, to do stuff from the heart. It really means, am I present right now to myself? And is my actions, is the way I'm moving my body a direct, authentic, real expression of that? You know, when my husband and I started to do the intimacy work together.
Okay, wait, hold on, hold on. Tell us a little bit about that because not everybody knows.
Okay, so yeah, my husband and I started to do some incredible work together in sacred intimacy, because our marriage a few years ago just hit, you know, not a good place. And one of the coolest thing about that is that we would have this presence practice where we would sit in front of each other and just breathe, look into each other's left eye, which is the softened part of that we can enter the soul. And then my only job, so his job as the alpha was to just continue to breathe me, and my job was to energetically get inside myself and allow each moment to come through now, now, now. So I would have to feel how I was in that very moment that I was sitting in front of me of him, and it could start with some tears. If I was angry, I would just, like, not at him, but
Yes.
whatever I was moving through me, he was just witnessing that, you
Mm,
know? And then anger and tears, and the beautiful thing is that because he allowed all of that and all the time that I needed to move through that, most of the time our practices would end up in love making,
mm,
because everything that is in the way, just like these layers, right, everything that is in the way of our hearts to connect and our bodies to connect, because our bodies naturally want to be together, got out of the way when I allowed those things to move through. And
yeah.
so the routines that I've created to me are this expression of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
The time that I spent with each song, and really seeing, like, hey body, what do you want to do here? And trusting that, I can try to fix a whole routine and be like, this routine is so simple, or it's not creative enough, but it's like it's what came through in that moment, and that's all that matters, you know.
Yeah, I just want to say that I was when I visited you. So we had this blue monkey, just an improvisation on the Israeli music,
So
and
fun.
I haven't been. I mean, I used to teach Nia for many years, and now I teach a different modality, which my heart told me to move to, Surya. So, and then it was for such a long time that I hadn't done that kind of class, and I remember the moment you started teaching, because you did the first song with the
Hmm.
Israeli playlist. I was like, whoa. It was so beautiful to see your body move. You have such amazing presence, and the listening to the music, because I dropped the music on you, and I just felt that I was blown away, and I'm very critical. So
But
yeah.
also, like, you're blown away, but like very quickly sucked right into it, and creating magic immediately with me, like, and that's the beautiful thing of the heart. there's
Yes.
something there's something that we call heart coherence, which is
Hmm.
there's a breath work that I actually put in the list as an option, a breath work journey that it's called heart coherence, and what that breathing is about. But I know we get this every time that we're dancing together, is that our hearts begin to tune in to the same radio station.
Right,
you
right,
know
right.
and so like the minute, like, what our hearts did in that moment was just that tune in of, like, there was a part of you that you had forgotten, and I helped you remember so quickly about you. And you just by being me, right, not by trying to
Yes.
make you remember. and
Yeah.
and then we were like, it was fireworks from there.
It was really, really fun, and it helps that I really love you. I just wanted to say something about the heart, because I've been dealing with the heart. I mean, for my whole life, I guess. But I just want to share on a personal note that I went through some heartache recently, and I could really feel how my body is concaving in, like my chest and my the is falling in, and I'm drooping. And then when I started collecting myself back into my yoga practice, because I practice Kundalini yoga, and I would sit up, and then I would just kind of lift my heart up a little bit, just a little bit to the sky, and I could feel like the back, my spine, elongating, and I could feel like my coming back to myself, just by that really gentle opening of the heart after it was like so it felt so injured and painful, and slowly, slowly the physical opening, like you said before, that even when we move the body, so we affect also the energetic space of these organs, and I use chakras as as my practice. But it was just this real small, delicate connection between the movement of the body and the effect that it has emotionally and spiritually, and so that's why I think we're so blessed that we have this practice.
And you took, it was a choice, you know. Every time our hearts have every reason to shut down, you know, like we're always being encountering unconsciousness in life. In every encounter is you know, the desire is to just do that, really, to protect. And every moment there's that choice of to stay softened, to stay open, even if it's that 1 inch heart lift. It doesn't need to be like, take me, right? Because
Exactly.
we need time to heal. But it's the choice that we make, you know, and those choices are available to us all the time in all circumstances.
Yes, yes. And when I used to practice Buddhist meditation, and my teacher, he gave us a meditation, and then in one of the meditations, in our heart there's only space, and there's an emptiness of the heart. That's the Buddhist tradition. Emptiness not as something that is void. The emptiness is actually full. But
Mm-hmm.
I remember that in one of those guided meditations, he said, there's really nothing to protect. There's only emptiness, and all of these layers that we're protecting and guarding, and the armoring. And then when you go deep in and you just feel this open space and a softness, and there's nothing to protect. And by the way, the name of the chakra
Mm-hmm.
in Sanskrit of the heart is anahata, which means the unstruck. It can never be struck. I mean, the true essence of our heart, our true nature, can never be damaged.
Mm-hmm.
It's eternal. Yeah. Well, well, I love this discussion. We could go on and on
I know.
into the heart, but I also want to talk about your coming visit. Okay.
Yeah.
So um, we're organizing this amazing tour. I think we already have 13 teachers um, who are
Mm.
going to host you from the south, like Sharon, and up to the north, Chen Danon Zaks, and you have Nitzan Gantz and Yifat Galinsky, and and Adi Goen, who was my first Nia teacher, and now she has her own modality, which is called the architecture of movement. And one of my students who became a teacher, she's going to host you, and Hilal Gofer, and many others. If I forgot anybody, so shoot me now. But we have around 13 teachers who are very excited to host you in July. Um, and maybe you want to tell us a little bit about your vision for this tour.
Mm. Um, I really want to come and play. You know, I want to come and play, and I know that we had this like buffet of choices, and I'm even trusting that, you know, that your hearts will choose the right thing. And if it doesn't, and if you guys want me to come in and show up to a class and teach whatever it's in my heart, that I trust that too. You know, but I have been really, after being a little bit of a hermit for the last year, when I moved back to America, I needed to reset my whole nervous system. I didn't connect with many people, and
Mm.
my heart is feeling called to reconnect, but to reconnect more with the people now that are in alignment with, you know, with what I love, that are growing the way that I'm growing, you know. So it definitely feels like I'm going to hang out with some of my sisters and play and have fun, and knowing already that it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I also have to say that I haven't been doing many big events for a while, COVID and my own personal circumstances. But this is really I feel a rekindling of the joy of being in community with people that you can connect on the heart level and really go deep um, into what true embodiment and spirituality and movement can bring us, and really amplify our lives, and especially in this day and age where I feel that there's so much being in the head and
Mm-hmm.
screens and too much information, and everything's like going very fast. I'm sure everybody feels it. And also specifically about Israel, that now I think many people in Israel are feeling a lot of heartache,
Mm-hmm.
because there are changes that are happening in Israel, and also around the world.
Yeah.
And I really feel, for me personally, that the only antidote is to keep on my own practice and my own dance, and even when I don't feel happy
Mm-hmm.
or up. So for me, it's the most powerful medicine.
Mm-hmm. I wrote down a quote here before we started,
Yes,
which
please.
is one of my favorite one that says, "Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do that, because what the world needs is more people who have come alive." Right? And it's like in quantum physics we see, right, that there's nothing outside ourselves. There's, the world that we're seeing is just this reflection of my own internal world. And that's why we tend to the heart in our internal world. So we can begin from that place of power, because the heart space and true power, not toxic power, not abuse of power, like true power, and sitting in the space of the heart, they're the same thing. And then from that place of a deep empowerment, that it's also something from the inside out, then I can get the next steps of how I can contribute to change the bigger world, right? But it's definitely starting with the inside world.
Yes, for sure. And I also think that in this day and age, it's also, at least here in Israel, we've been called to be activists,
Mm-hmm.
those who believe in protecting their values.
Mm-hmm.
So many of us, I know from my friends, are taking to the streets and going into demonstrations, and it can be very stressful after a while. And now, really, the leaders of the protests have started talking about how can we recharge ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And part of it is meditation,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and these practices of self-care to take care of ourselves, so that we can also stay activists and stand for what we believe.
Mm.
And I really feel, I don't know why suddenly I had now, just now, that you coming at this time is also related to that. Like, because I feel that you're this kind of, like in my vision, you're this kind of warrior, love warrior,
Mm.
living very intentionally. Um, and I think that that's what we need now also, so that your visit, it's not by chance that you're coming at this time,
Mm.
Israel. That's someday I had this insight.
Mm. I'm honored to hear that.
Yes. Um, and the last thing I want to say is that at the end of when you tour Israel and you go visit different communities, and of course everybody's welcome to join all of these classes where you'll be, oh, Anita, my friend
Mm.
from
I
Hungary. Hi, Anita. Kochich. Yeah. Watch it. You'll watch it afterwards from the beginning, because she apologized that she's late because she
Mm.
was teaching a class. Love her. So yeah, Anita is from Hungary. She's a Surya Soul teacher, also a Nia teacher, and she's actually going to come to Israel. I think, I hope, to be with us.
Yay.
Yeah, and really, this is an opportunity to invite anybody who wants to come visit Israel in July and and play with Lola and with me. And at the end of this tour, there's a 2-day retreat up north in this beautiful resort. Uh,
Beautiful.
yeah, it is beautiful, and that could be really fun if we had international people who would just hop on the opportunity to see Israel in community. Um, and be with us. That would be absolutely lovely. So that's what I wanted to say, is that the end of the tour, we have a 2-day retreat I'm going to host with you. So you're going to work your magic. And since we'll have more time and it won't be just a 1 hour, 2 hour thing, you can go deep. Um, do you want to say anything about what you want to do there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just excited. I love this longer gatherings because although our connection is mainly the dance part, there's so much healing through other ways. There's so much things that I offer here in Baltimore that I love, that are so, like soul tending and heart nourishing. And it's going to be amazing to have those 2 days, an opportunity to bring in like a cacao ceremony, to bring in a breathwork journey, to bring in a workshop that gets us to really go deeper, to take it deeper into a whole new level. And those longer periods of time also always serve as a huge reset for the nervous system. And and usually when the nervous system takes a reset like that, we just become this like open vessel for a whole new level of creativity and flow, and even like to land into that activist place of you recharge, kind of what you're saying. So, and working with you, Noah, I'll mhm.
Yeah, my part is going to be really my practice, which is a dance practice based on the chakra system and on yoga and Tao and some mudras and mantras. Remember, we did that short mantra in the serpent ceremony in your beautiful sacred owl.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I love working with the voice, and also spoiler. I don't know if it's a spoiler, but we also plan, I don't know if you people know, but Lola is a musician.
Oh my God. Don't take that too seriously, guys.
She sings, and look for Lola on Spotify. I love your music. Don't be shy about it.
I know, I'm still shy about it. I
Yeah,
haven't like
but will
fully
you
listened.
anyway? Ifat and me, we were talking about maybe on the weekend where you're in Jaffa in Tel Aviv, the first weekend you're here. So we'll do something with voice, and then maybe Lola will bless us with a live performance. You have no choice. We're gonna push you onto the stage. But anyway, so just know that Lola also works with her voice. And I have to tell you that during COVID, I remember the first time you put on one of your songs, like a clip. I think it was a clip, or just on Spotify. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so jealous because I love singing, but I never dared to take it into that level.
It's
Oh,
pretty.
Sharon is saying, I love your music. I wish to dance with you to your songs.
Hmm.
There you go, Lola.
Okay.
That's actually, do you teach anything with your own songs?
I actually just put together a playlist of a new Brazilian songs with a couple of my songs in it, but I haven't even started choreograph yet.
Okay,
Um,
so there you go.
probably in the retreats that we're probably gonna have an opportunity more for free dance or exploration. Even the floor. Am I gonna teach the floor class somewhere? Some of you guys, if you don't have a floor experience, just reconsider that because it's
It's
amazing.
amazing. We did it last time you were here.
Yeah, and I continue. There's the floor workshop, but there's also just like a 1 hour floor class that is
Okay,
also the
so
mission.
let's put out the
Yeah.
call for the teachers that are hosting you.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't do it, so I'll do it in my studio, even though my studio isn't um, a hard floor, a hardwood floor, but it has these mattresses. But I think it's anyway. We'll
Okay.
find a spot for the floor because I really believe that it's such an amazing practice, and we did it last time.
Well, there's also another thing that I'm actually going to do in Richmond with Mary Beth in a couple weekends from now.
I love it.
I'm going to teach a 90-minute class. So it's going to be like a 1 hour. Actually, since the routine is usually the two songs already floor stuff, it's going to be like a 50-minute dance class, a regular class. And then the floor, I'll take it into a floor flow class for another like half an hour.
Perfect.
Yeah, so that would be more like a 90-minute class, and it's like a dance and floor together.
I highly recommend teachers in Israel if you
I
want
love it.
Lola to
Yeah.
do a 1 hour kind of regular class and then half an hour of the floor. That sounds amazing. So there you go. Okay, so um, I really enjoyed talking to you.
Mm.
And even though we had a little technical issues, but I'm going to post this and share this, and I'm sure people will be able to watch it. And any last words? I didn't say the dates that you're coming to Israel. I'll just, because I have to think.
Go for it.
I'll say the dates that Lola is coming to Israel. Adas is yelling something. She was my Adas. When you say I want this, tell me what you want, and then I'll tell Lola.
So tell me what you really, really want.
Really? So I want. She wants this. Adas says she wants what we just said.
Okay.
Okay, Adas, you got it.
Bingo.
There you go. So yes. Okay, now Sharon also wants it. Okay, we'll see. Anybody who wants it, yes, the 90 minutes. Adas wants the 90 minutes. Anyway.
Well, Noah, do you want to talk about, to the teachers that are going to host, we're talking about a possible Zoom connection with all of them?
Yeah, but I can also WhatsApp them.
Yeah, but that would be cool because then they can ask this kind of questions.
Right. Okay, so I'll say it now.
Yeah.
Because it's all teachers here. The teachers who are hosting, I came up with a brilliant idea just before the broadcast while I was freaking out that it wasn't working, that we would have a Zoom session with Lola, and then everybody can ask Lola, consult with her what they want to bring to their own classes, to their communities. So we'll do that so we can all be prepared and on the same page. And the last thing, so I just want to be just say that Lola's coming from the 9th of July until the 23rd of July.
Mm-hmm.
And, clear your schedule, come to Israel, dance with us. There are going to be really cool, surprising, amazing things. Ifat is helping me a lot, Ifat Galinsky, with the production, and she's an amazing producer, and without her, I don't know if I would manage to pull it off. So I'm very grateful. And yes, and I think it's going to be magical. That's what I feel. My heart feels it's going to be magical.
Let's just call it. Boom. That's what it is.
Okay, darling. So thank you so much.
Thank you too, Noah.
And thank you for those who managed to find the broadcast. I know, but you see, this was a screening process, and maybe we'll have another one closer to the date, another live, and now I know how to do it already. Adi Raz-Rotman, also one of my dancers, she's here. Hi, Adi. So much love to all of you, to you, Lola.
We'll see you guys really soon.
Really, really soon.
Woo!